The Best of Living in Iowa is funded in part by the Gilchrist Foundation. Founded by Jocelyn Gilchrist, furthering the philanthropic interests of the Gilchrist family in wildlife and conservation, the arts and public broadcasting, and disaster relief.
Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. Generations of families and friends who feel passionate about the programs they watch on Iowa Public Television.
Hello, this is Morgan Halgren. For 16 seasons, Living in Iowa told the tale of what it means to be uniquely Iowan. Tonight, we honor that spirit by bringing you another glimpse into our rich heritage with a few stories from our archives. In this episode of The Best of Living in Iowa, we bring our head, heart, hands, and health to explore the roots of 4-H in Clarinda. Follow a class of elementary school children that might leave you seeing double, and follow the life of Mr. State Fair himself, Bill Riley Sr.
.4-H will celebrate its centennial this year. That means there are several generations that have pledged to use their head, heart, hands, and health to improve their communities. Speculation as to the origins of 4-H points to an Iowa teacher named Jessie Field Shambaugh, who was determined to give her students more than the 3 R's. These vintage photographs show 4-H'ers at the Iowa State Fair marching in parades, showing livestock, and standing proudly by their exhibits, the bread and butter activity of 4-H, demonstrating how to select proper footwear or outlining the advantages of lead paint. To uncover the origins of 4-H, we headed over to Page County, where many residents claim a woman named Jessie Field Shambaugh from Clarinda planted the idea for 4-H 100 years ago.
The mother of 4-H was my mother, too.
Ruth is the daughter of Jessie Field Shambaugh and tells us that at age 19, Jessie taught at the Goldenrod Country School, but felt that rural children needed more than the 3 R's to improve the country way of life. So, after school, she held informal lessons, which became the Boys' Corn Club and the Girls' Home Club.
It's just the whole idea of learning by doing so that they could see the results and feel pride.
After graduating from college, Jessie was elected superintendent of schools for all of Page County, a remarkable accomplishment for a woman in 1906. With the help of teachers from 130 one-room schools, Jessie cultivated the Boys' Corn Clubs and the Girls' Home Clubs throughout the county.
She's definitely visionary, I think. And then the ability to see far into the future and bring it all together somehow in practical, fun ways, really, for a lot of the children. And she had this way of motivating in such a kind of a calm, loving way, I guess you'd say.
To motivate the youngsters, Jessie started organizing competitive exhibits. Martin Johnson is 106 years old and was on the first corn judging team that went to compete in Ames in 1909.
When you came in from the first contest where they had called you the pony team because you were the smallest, youngest.
Yeah.
But the pony team won the prize.
It was really something to win a contest like that. We went down there, Jessie Field Shambaugh, she took us down and we visited with the experts that putting the program on.
Teams of 3 were judged on how well they evaluated the quality of ears of corn. Picking choice ears for seed corn on the farm with his father prepared Martin for the competition.
Probably learned to be a better farmer. Produce better seed corn for one thing.
County teams had to win 3 years in a row to keep the trophy permanently. So when Martin's teammates achieved that goal, it was a sweet victory.
I valued that very highly. They kept it in the superintendent's office for a long time. Then the sad part of it was that they had a fire one night and burned it.
Jessie Field Shambaugh started county-wide junior achievement shows similar to today's fairs. In 1909, Jessie and her troops entered their exhibits in the International Corn Show at Omaha and won. First prize was a brush automobile. The 600 kids who participated voted to let the county school superintendent, Jessie, use the car, which allowed her to visit their schools more often than she could by horse and buggy.
She made them feel sure it was their car. When they heard the little car coming up, put, 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 they would all run to the steps and the teacher would let them to see their car. And then the boys took turns with cranking it. And she gave them many, many rides, and many of them had their first automobile rides.
Another first for Page County came in 1928 when Esther Williams was crowned the first Iowa 4-H queen at the State Girls 4-H Convention in Ames.
That I was chosen, and it was a wonderful evening. Some of the others that were runners-up were the attendants, and there was a beautiful gown, a mammoth headpiece, and they took lots of pictures.
Esther said that it took hours to set up this picture, and if you look closely, you'll find her at the base of the A. 4-H really was a family affair for Esther when she went on to become a leader like her mother. She said they worked hard on their demonstrations, first at the county fair level, and then if they won, at the state level.
Oh, the county fair was just wonderful because the people in our county got to see what we'd been doing. I canned a chicken. And did you know that a whole 2.5 pound to 3 pound chicken will go in a quart jar if you know how to put it in? And also I made bread. Neither got to go to the state fair.
But over the years, a lot of kids did make it to the state fair to set up their exhibits or show ag products. Besides the obvious changes in uniforms, 4-H has also changed its scope to include urban areas and contemporary projects like computers and space exploration. The ideas that Jessie Field Shambaugh pursued 100 years ago are still the basis for today's 4-H.
She was so eager to give the children a feeling of self-worth, or that here were things they had achieved, they could do. This was, learning to do the best better.
The National 4-H organization does not attribute the origins of 4-H to any one person. But according to Jessie's daughter, that would have been just fine with Jessie.
Not that it really matters, as she says, don't write about me, write about the idea.
The Iowa landscape offers so many different ways to grow, and tonight we'll unearth a few of them. First, we'll head over to the Glidden-Ralston School District to observe a development that has people doing double takes. Parents and educators alike are learning how to deal with the unusual number of twins that have sprouted up in their small community. Come along as we investigate the mystery of the matching minors. It was just about time for school to start, so we camped out near the bus stop. We'd heard about the curious goings-on and just had to see for ourselves. Sure enough, no sooner than we could say Michaela and Mackenzie, here they came. It didn't take long before we started thinking that everyone walking together must have been born that way, too. Inside, it was even more of the same. I mean, twin water fountains? Was this some kind of duplicate delirium? Maybe we were just getting swept up in the craze. Hey, wait a minute. Hadn't we just seen him on 3rd floor? Or was it his twin? Anyway, just about the time we had convinced ourselves we must be seeing double, a strange thing happened. One of our delusions divided and headed for separate classrooms. And so did this denim duo. Determined to get to the bottom of it all,
we went to school on it. We learned that among the 443 students at Glidden-Ralston Community School, there are 10 sets of twins. And remarkably, in the 2 second-grade classrooms, 1 of every 4 students has a double.
I've always felt that when a twin is born, they're kind of born with their best friend. Most of the time in twins, you will find that one is more dominant than the other. And by separating them, perhaps the one who is not the dominant one can find their own strengths and develop without such a close attachment to the other twin.
What might you think I'm talking about? Kayla?
As we get acclimated to school and they start to develop other friendships, they go outside and they don't necessarily look for their twin. And I think that's positive. I think they need a well-rounded social circle.
Fourth graders Jody and Stephanie Brockman certainly have their share of friends. But when they need reassurance, they come together like the poles of a magnet.
See, my playmate, come out and play with me.
There's a built-in playmate. They're there for each other all the time, and they don't have to worry about who are they going to hang around with at the basketball game.
And we'll be jolly friends forevermore. Shut the door.
They're there for each other all the time, and that is nice.
Sometimes just because we always run to each other and hug each other, and if we forget to, at the end of recess when the bell rings, we always remind each other.
Stephanie, what's the worst part about being a twin?
People are always like saying, "Oh, you're so cute." And it's embarrassing.
Well, how about when people want to tell you guys apart? How do they do that?
I have a birthmark. I think it's somewhere around there.
You say either, and I say either.
He plays basketball, and sometimes I play soccer.
Either.
I'm kind of taller than her.
Neither. Let's call the whole thing off.
How do you tell?
Keith and Scott.
But how do you look different?
Because of.
You say either, and
How about boyfriends? You think you'll share boyfriends?
Because I have blue eyes. No, I have green eyes. He has brown eyes.
neither. Let's call the whole.
Identical twins are, well, there's 2 ways of looking at them. They're either a fluke of nature or a gift from God. It kind of depends on what kind of day we're having.
Emily and Alyssa Brueggemann seemed to be having a pretty harmonious day when we stopped by for a visit.
Hello, how are you guys?
One look at the twin beds, the matching dresses and rollerblades left us little doubt.
And so what do you guys say when they say, "Are you guys twins?" What do you say?
We shake our heads at the same time. Sometimes we do.
Do you think that's kind of a silly question when everybody asks that all the time?
Yeah. Except I have a twin boyfriend.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about him.
No!
Oh, you can.
No!
And what do you do when you see each other in the hall?
Wave and sometimes she wants to talk to me in the bathroom, but I don't know why. Well, sometimes I will lose my tooth and sometimes I have something to say to you.
As we got better acquainted with these Gemini from Glidden, we realized they have a lot more in common than meets the eye.
The way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea.
What are some of the things that you like to do, both of you?
Play tractors together.
The memory of all that. No, they can't take that away from me. The way you hold your knife, the way we dance till 3.
Do you like the same food, too?
Nope.
No? What do you like?
Spaghetti.
And what do you like?
Spaghetti.
The way you've changed my life.
How about your teachers? Do they get you mixed up?
No. Sometimes Mr. K calls me Ethan.
No, they can't take that away from me. The way your smile just beams, the way you sing off key.
While nobody really knows the reason behind this rash of redundant reproductions, that doesn't stop folks from coming up with their own theory.
I drink bottled water in Glidden. I don't know why this has happened.
Is it the water? Oh, I don't know. But we didn't even live in Glidden when ours were conceived. I kind of like to blame it on that. It's the water. Don't drink the water. Bring your own.
Spencer is not the only Iowa town that's loaded with talent, and Bill Riley can attest to that. As Iowa's premier talent scout, Bill became the father figure that thousands of young Iowans wanted to please. Our next feature pays tribute to Bill's 50 years in broadcasting and the memory-packed moments that make up the life of Riley. These tiny dancers may not know that they are part of a great Iowa tradition. And they may be unaware that the man who introduced them has been the healthy heart of that tradition for 37 years. It's the 1996 Iowa State Fair Talent Search. And in his 50th year at the fair, Bill Riley is fulfilling a few dreams of his own. Back in 1934, when Bill was a 14-year-old visitor to the fair, he was awestruck when he saw Ronald Dutch Reagan recreate a baseball game from a ticker. He tucked that inspiration in his pocket and headed back to his native Iowa Falls, where 2 years later he began working at the Hardin County Citizen as a sports and general news reporter. In 1943, after college and the Army, Bill joined the KRNT radio staff, and before long people began to recognize the voice and name of Bill Riley. His energy and natural enthusiasm added fuel to an incredible number of projects, one of which was the introduction of television to Iowa. It was 1946, Iowa's centennial year, and 238,000 fairgoers stopped by the International Harvester Tent to marvel at the newest entertainment and communication medium. With the incredible success of that exhibit and his growing opportunities in radio, Bill's career role was cast.
Every morning, live, 7:30, The Breakfast Club, which turned out to be phenomenally successful. I think it approached 40,000 boys and girls who were actually members of the Breakfast Club.
What do you yell when you see a traffic violation? It's the Hey Bob Show with Bill Riley.
And nearly 10 years before television came to central Iowa, on Saturday mornings in the late 1940s, you could hear the Hey Bob Show on KRNT radio.
Hey, be on the beam. Hey, B-O-B, hey, be on the beam. And the whole idea was that we had a dummy. We called him Hey Bob, and Hey Bob was really stupid. And the boys and girls understood that he was stupid, and they didn't want to be a Hey Bob. They wanted to be smart. And hey, when you see somebody walking against a red light, yell, Hey Bob. Hey, be on the beam.
The format of the Hey Bob Show included children's talent, and by the mid-50s, the idea of a bona fide talent search took form in a television show called Red Dot Teen Time. In the 1950s and 60s, he was on KRNT radio and television morning, noon, and night. He worked the PA system at baseball and basketball games, car races, and store openings. In the midst of all this was the growing success of the talent shows. Bill crisscrossed the state, appearing at and hosting dozens of local talent shows that led up to the big Iowa State Fair talent show. Carla Alt, his assistant for 35 years, can still recall the pace of those early days.
He'd fly out the back door of KRNT TV, jump in the car, and we would take off to wherever the talent show was that night. I honestly don't know how he did it all those years, except that he just enjoyed it.
After a talent show in Fontenelle, Carla and Bill discovered that a thunderstorm had left her car magnificently stuck in the mud.
Bill Riley, in his suit, got out of the car, got behind the car, and pushed, and got us out. And obviously he was covered with mud, you know, from then on, but He's one of the most genuine people that I have ever known, and I think kids sense that. Bill believes in the kids, he encourages them, he brings out the best.
Hey, if you're not selected today, you're going to be disappointed. Of course. But let that just be there for a short time, and then turn it around and don't be discouraged.
In 1993, after 34 years of talent searches, Bill was surprised when the Fairgrounds Plaza stage was renamed the Bill Riley Stage. It was the first time a building or facility had been named for anyone. Opening day of this year's fair marked the dedication of the handsomely renovated Bill Riley Stage, followed by cake and ice cream for everyone, and one unusual surprise appearance.
One of the buffalo heads.
I remember running around on the stage and jumping up and down like a bunch of wild hyenas because we were so thrilled. And Bill was an inspiration for all four of us in our quartet. He's always telling us that it was not Bill Riley that made the show, it was all of the kids that performed in the show that made this thing tick.
Opera star Simon Estes was a State Fair talent show contestant who returned to this stage to unveil a print of the Bill Riley sculpture.
A great man, yes? This is Iowa. Even if you don't always win, you still win. Because in Centerville, Iowa, I was blessed, and I happened to have won first prize. But when I came to Des Moines, I didn't win first prize, but I still was able to sing. But Bill Riley was the first talent scout, even before Ed Sullivan and all those other people, who gave me my big chance. So Bill, thank you, and I'm delighted to be here.
Riley has no complaints about the career path her emotional Irishman chose. Although his family thought of him as just good old Dad, at an early age his son Ed did recognize the money-making potential of his father's popularity.
He had children lined up all afternoon, charging them 5 cents to sit on our fence and wait for the great Bill Riley to arrive. So it was really funny. Bill broadcasting out here was really fun because I love the fair and it's working with children. That's what's important. The looks on their faces and to see a child pick up a ribbon is something you just never forget.
And how would Ann describe Bill Riley after 51 years of marriage?
Fun, lots of fun. And he's absolutely out of this world marvelous dancer. Everybody asks me, what in the world is he going to do if he retires? And I just keep saying, I'll keep him busy.
It's been wonderful. It's been an incredible life. And I personally am the luckiest guy that has ever lived.
The Best of Living in Iowa is funded in part by the Gilchrist Foundation. Founded by Jocelyn Gilchrist, furthering the philanthropic interests of the Gilchrist family in wildlife and conservation, the arts and public broadcasting, and disaster relief.
Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. Generations of families and friends who feel passionate about the programs they watch on Iowa Public Television.